You just woke up from a surgery and someone is already telling you to sign away custody and they have got paperwork already. How is this not planned? And who set this up?
Don't sign that. You'll lose your child. My hand was already shaking over the paper when the doctor whispered it. I had just woken up from surgery, still numb, barely able to sit up in that hospital bed, and my sister, Miriam, was standing over me like she owned the room, holding my file, telling me to hurry. "Isabel, just sign it," she said, pressing the clipboard closer to my chest. "This is for Mia, my daughter." The words on the page blurred, legal language swimming in and out of focus. I couldn't even process what I was looking at. "I can't read this," I muttered, my voice barely there. Miriam's expression tightened. "You don't need to. I've already handled everything." That's when the doctor stepped in closer, his voice low, urgent. "This isn't routine consent," he said. And suddenly, Miriam tried to pull the paper back. I watched her fingers tighten around the edge of the clipboard as the doctor reached for it, like she didn't want him to see what was actually on that page. "Miriam," he said, more firmly this time, "I need to review that." "It's already been reviewed," she shot back, too quickly. Then she turned to me again, her voice softening, but it didn't feel reassuring. It felt rehearsed. "Issa, you're still groggy. This is just temporary. It's to make sure Mia is taken care of while you recover." Temporary. It wasn't right. Because if it was just temporary, why rush me? Why push me to sign before I could even sit up? "Where is she?" I asked, forcing the words out through the dryness in my throat. "Where's Mia?" Miriam hesitated. It was small. Most people wouldn't have noticed it, but I did. "She's safe," she said finally. That wasn't an answer. "Where?" I pressed. The machines beside me started beeping a little faster, or maybe it was just my heart. I tried to push myself up again, ignoring the sharp pull in my abdomen. "With who?" "You don't need to worry about that right now." "I do," I said, sharper than I expected. My voice cracked, but I didn't care. "She's my daughter." The doctor glanced between us, his expression tightening. He stepped closer to my bedside, lowering his voice again. "Isabel, I strongly advise you not to sign anything until you're fully alert. You're still under the effects of anesthesia." Miriam exhaled sharply, clearly losing patience. "And I'm telling you, this can't wait." "Why?" I asked, locking my eyes on hers. For a second, she didn't answer. Then she reached down, flipped the top page just enough for me to see a line near the middle. "Because if you don't," she said quietly, "someone else is going to make that decision for you." My stomach dropped. "Someone else?" I repeated. The doctor straightened beside me. "What does that mean?" But Miriam didn't look at him. She was still staring at me, and this time there was no softness left in her voice at all. "It means," she said, "you're not in control of this anymore." The words didn't just land, they settled in, heavy and suffocating. I gripped the edge of the hospital bed, forcing myself to stay focused despite the fog still clinging to my head. "That doesn't make any sense," I said. "I'm her mother." Miriam didn't respond right away. She adjusted the papers like she was organizing something routine, something ordinary. That made it worse. "Where is Mia?" I asked again, slower this time, deliberate. "With someone who can take care of her," she replied. My chest tightened. "I take care of her." "Not like this," she said, glancing pointedly at the monitors, the IV in my arm, the way I could barely sit upright. "You just had major surgery, Isabel. You can't even stand." "That doesn't mean I lose my child." "I didn't say you'd lose her," Miriam said, but she didn't sound convincing. "This is just a transition." A transition. I looked down at the paper again, forcing my eyes to focus. The words came into view in fragments. Temporary guardian. Guardian. Not help, not babysitter. Control. Why does it say guardian? I asked, my voice dropping. Miriam's jaw tightened. Because that's the legal term. The doctor stepped closer. Legal term for what exactly? Miriam didn't answer him. Instead, she leaned in toward me, lowering her voice. If you don't sign this now, she said, you're going to regret it. Regret it. The way she said it, calm, certain, made my stomach twist. That sounds like a threat, I said, my voice steadier now, even as my body still felt like it didn't belong to me. Miriam straightened, crossing her arms. It's reality. No, I pushed back, wincing as I shifted upright. Reality is you standing over me while I can't even think straight, trying to make me sign something I don't understand. Her expression hardened. I understand it. That's enough. No, it's not, the doctor cut in. His tone had changed, no longer cautious. She needs full capacity to consent, and right now she doesn't. Miriam ignored him completely. You keep asking where Mia is, she said, turning back to me. She's not here because she shouldn't be here. Then where is she? I demanded, with people who know what they're doing. My pulse spiked. Who? She hesitated, just for a second, but it was enough. And that's when I saw it again, that second document tucked beneath the first. This time, I forced my eyes to focus. A header, official, my name, and one word that cut through everything. Assessment. Not temporary. What is that? I asked, my voice dropping. Miriam didn't hide it anymore. I made sure there was a record, she said.
She already made a second record before I even woke up. This wasn't sudden. So what exactly had she already set in motion?
A record of what? She met my eyes, unflinching. That you might not be fit to take care of her right now. The room went completely still, and the doctor stepped forward. A record? I repeated, the word barely leaving my mouth. My head was clearer now, clear enough to feel the weight of what she'd just admitted. You reported me? I asked. Miriam didn't flinch. I documented concerns. That's not the same thing, the doctor said sharply. He stepped between us now, his presence no longer passive. And you don't get to initiate something like that and then pressure her into signing legal documents while she's sedated. Miriam's grip tightened on the papers. I'm her emergency contact. I'm allowed to act in her best interest. Not like this, he replied. I forced myself to sit up straighter, ignoring the pain ripping through my abdomen. How long? I asked, locking onto her. How long have you been planning this? She hesitated. That hesitation was everything. It was planned. Since before the surgery, I pushed. Silence. My chest tightened. You already had this ready, before I even went under? I prepared, she said finally, because someone had to. The pieces started locking into place, the paperwork, the report, Mia not being here. Who has her? I demanded. Miriam's eyes flickered, just for a moment. Then she said it. If you don't sign, they're going to step in anyway. The doctor turned to her immediately. Who is they? But Miriam didn't answer him. She was still looking at me, like this was already decided. You called someone, I said, my voice low, steady now. You reported me before I even went into surgery. Miriam didn't deny it. I made sure there was a file, she replied, in case something went wrong, in case you couldn't take care of her. Nothing went wrong, I said. You decided that it would. The doctor didn't wait anymore. He reached out and took the documents from her hands, firm, controlled. I'm documenting this, he said. This patient is not in a condition to consent, and this, he lifted the papers slightly, goes beyond emergency authorization. For the first time, Miriam looked uncertain. You're overreacting, she said, but there was a crack in her voice now. This is temporary. It's protection. From what? I asked. She didn't answer. Within minutes, the room shifted. A nurse came in, then another staff member. The doctor spoke quietly but urgently, handing over the documents. I caught fragments: coercion, capacity, custodial language. Miriam tried to interrupt, to reassert control, but it was slipping, fast. "Where is my daughter?" I asked again. This time she answered. "With a friend," she said quietly. "Just overnight." The next few hours moved differently, slower, heavier, but clearer. Hospital administration got involved. A social worker, one Miriam didn't choose, arrived and reviewed everything. The so-called assessment she filed had no medical backing, no immediate cause, just speculation timed right before my surgery. And the attempt to get my signature while I was sedated? It changed everything. By the end of the day, the report was flagged as unsubstantiated, the guardianship form void. And Miriam? She wasn't escorted out in handcuffs, but she wasn't in control anymore either. When Mia was brought back the next morning, the moment I held her, it hit me how close this came, how easily this could have gone the other way if I had just signed. Miriam stood in the doorway, quiet now. No clipboard, no authority, just distance. "I was trying to help," she said. I didn't respond, because whatever that was, it wasn't help. It wasn't. Later, I removed her as my emergency contact, filed a formal complaint, made sure there were records, real ones this time. Life didn't instantly reset. Trust doesn't come back like that. But one thing was final. She tried to take my child when I couldn't even sit up. And in the end, the only thing she took from me was herself.
If paperwork can be lined up and decisions made while someone is unconscious, how often does this happen, and who is making those calls when no one is watching?